Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharifa and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to my channel, please check out the links located in the description box and comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links that lead to videos that talk about what started my targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program, information about the tactics used on targets, information about the technology used on targets, and information about the program in general, y'all. So, as you know, I've been targeted for more than 5 years. This is year 6 going on 7, actually, and I have not committed a crime. There are people on this island, y'all, that have done much worse that will never experience targeting. And then some of them have only done like 2-3 years in prison. It's just so unfair. I'm not trying to throw these people under the bus. I'm just saying it's just crazy. If you listen to my story and you sit and go through my videos, what led to where I'm at now. Anyway, nonetheless, y'all, you will have seen on my channel. Let me go to my channel and show you. Hold on, y'all. The internet's moving extremely slow. Yeah, you'll have seen on my channel, y'all, that about 3 months ago, actually, I think it was, here's the part 1. You'll see that about 5 months ago, I found out that I would be teaching again. So you can see the thumbnail says English teacher, right? And it says part 1, targeted individual career update. So the opportunity was disingenuous, y'all. I went through so much after finding out that I would be teaching again. From the months before, where I was lesson planning and preparing to get into the school, right up until I got into the school, and the tactics that were being used while I was in the school, and afterward, what took place afterward, what's happening now, y'all. So this is documentation. I have a series of videos that I've taken. Actually, some of them are on this channel, y'all, but I made those videos private. I was just documenting for months, y'all, what they were doing. You can see this is 6 hours and 50 minutes, 7 hours and 6 minutes, an hour 45, 2 hours 52, 2 hours 11. I was making these videos private because I was still in the opportunity, y'all, but the opportunity's gone now. So I'm still going to leave these videos here and keep them private because it's so much content that I compiled together. But these are some of the things that they were doing before I got into the classroom. But I reference it in these videos that I'm uploading now anyway. So it's okay. These are like summarized versions of what I recorded here, plus new things, what actually happened when I got into the classroom and what's happening now that I've resigned from the disingenuous opportunity, y'all. So it was all for revenge. Long story short, y'all. So I have about 5 clips I'm going to put together. Let me show y'all. I've just been making videos like crazy, similar to those clips that you saw that I have private on my channel and I just lumped them together. I'm not doing that here. With these videos and these clips, I'm going to make these public, y'all, because it's just crazy what I went through and what continues to be done. It's just insane. So now you can see I have 79 videos, y'all, 79 clips, all of these videos that I made over the course of the last few months. Like I said, documentation of what happened before I got in the classroom, what happened while I was in the classroom for the week and 2 days that I was there, and then what happened after I got out of the classroom, y'all. So tactics being used, you know, just manipulation and sabotage of the lessons, having the students doing stuff, predicted activity and predicted reactions. It was revenge. Anyway, so this video is the start of the documentation, y'all, of what took place. So this video is talking about some of the things that happened right before I got into the classroom. And then the next clip, are the next few clips, I'm going to be documenting what happened while I was in the classroom and what was going on with the students and the lesson planning. And then I'll have some clips where I document the after effect, like what's happening now, y'all. Because they even hit me in the arena of my other job, my security, where I do security. Remember, I was doing security before I got into school, and I planned to still do the security. And I was planning to scale back on the hours once the school started paying me because I wasn't going to get paid right away. With the teaching, especially down here, there's something called a NOPA, and you have to wait until the NOPA comes through, y'all, to get paid. Look how they turned the light up on my screen when I said I wasn't going to get paid right away, y'all. All this is revenge, all I did was document what was being done. It's so unfair. So anyways, with the school, sometimes it takes a month to 2 months, it just depends, before something called a NOPA comes through, and then you start getting paid as a new teacher. So I knew that was the case, and so I was planning to do the security for 4 to 5 nights, try to do it with the teaching. I was doing that 4 years ago, y'all, before I tried to relocate off island, but it was so different. I was teaching high school. I was teaching virtually. It's just a lot more difficult when you're in the classroom physically. And I was in the classroom for about half a year before I tried to relocate off island. But again, that was a short stint. So now having this reminder of what it's like to be in the classroom, and then the tactics I was dealing with, and then the age group I was dealing with, and then the scheduling was different with middle school than it is with high school. It was just, whoo, y'all are going to hear what took place in these next few clips, right? But anyway, so this is the start of, and I wouldn't say the start of the documentation. Like I told you all these clips here where you see 7 hours, 6 hours, where the screen is darked out, because it's private, you can't see it from my channel, but I can see it from my channel. So because I'm, making this video and I'm on my channel, I'm showing you that I have some documentation from months prior with the things that were being done leading up to me getting in the classroom, where they were actually warning me and telling me I didn't see it come in and all these things like that. So the thing was, it was revenge, y'all. It was not a genuine opportunity. Horrible. Sabotaging of good lessons, just punitive measures or things that were out of my control, or things that I didn't, it just, Anyway, right up until the last day where I finally realized, okay, whoa. And I, decided in my head I'm going to resign, and I left half day. And I ended up having to catch bus because the car was down. My family member wouldn't come and pick me up. And when I got to the house and I was walking into my neighborhood, the girl from the old job, the facility where I was a cadet, right? The one that made the comment about, I can't believe this girl thinks people are jealous of her, and then a week later I was fired. She's speeding by in her Jeep. She didn't think I was going to spot her Jeep. The stuff they had the kids doing with water bottles and stuff, and comments about better, and the whole thing was disingenuous, and revenge is what I came to realize. And the signs were there. The red flags were there left and right. I was in denial. And I didn't really think they were going to give me a whole teaching opportunity as revenge. I'm they're not going to take it this far. There's no way. But I've been dealing with these same people before I moved back home, before I made the decision to move back home, when I graduated from school in 2018, before I graduated, when I was still in school in 2018, they were hacking dating websites with that grudge before I became a target, before I sent the text in 2020. That grudge that they were holding against me for what happened with that dude from the hospital, the cyber stalking, cyberbullying guy. They were using government resources to hack dating websites while I was in school in 2018. So, I don't really know why I was surprised about what happened here, but I just didn't know it was going to be this drastic. I really wasn't prepared. I really didn't know what they had planned for me, boy. And then as soon as I resigned from the job, then a reduction in my security hours to the point where I'm having to apply for unemployment. This was really well crafted and planned. And that man's friends followed me around the island before I got into school. A week before I got into school, they were hiding in the bathroom, and they flew out of the bathroom towards the end of my workout in my gym. And everyone in that gym seemed pissed too, a week before I got into school. And they flew out the bathroom when I was on my last workout, and sweat dripped in my eyes and they thought I was crying, flew out the bathroom, and then come to find out they realized I wasn't crying, and, they had this kind of look on their face. But this was really, they really wanted, badly wanted to, get revenge. So that's what this was. Told you the guy was following me around looking however he was looking. Like this. They really wanted to, me to suffer. And, they even had the children saying stuff about hurt and break and... it sounds like craziness, y'all. You're going to hear in the coming clips what happened. Again, this clip you're about to listen to is documentation of some of the things that took place right before I got in the classroom. And then the next few clips or videos will be videos talking about and documenting the activity that took place with the lesson planning, the students, activity in the classroom. And then I have some videos that I'm going to upload talking about what happened after and where I'm at now. And so crazy stuff, y'all. Still targeted, still imprisoned, even though I'm not physically shackled and I have not committed a crime. So welcome to America. I don't have a problem with America. I'm American, but this is illegal, but it's it's being allowed to a civilian that hasn't committed a crime. Anyway, so That's what's going on, y'all. So that's what this clip is. I just wanted to give a little precursor before you listen to it. Just a compilation of clips I made of some of the activity, gang stalking activity that happened right before I got in the classroom. And then the next few videos I upload will be a compilation of clips, like I said, documenting what happened while I was in the classroom. And then there will be some videos, like 2 videos, documenting what's happening now and what happened directly after resigning from the teaching position, the disingenuous teaching opportunity. And again, y'all, I might, in one of these future clips, videos that you're going to listen to, I might reference some of the things that was talked about in these videos here that I have private. But for now, what I'm uploading is important enough, is pertinent, and documentation that will suffice. Those other things are important because it's been months of activity, y'all. I was just documenting. I'm like, what the heck? Why did they give me this job? And slowly but surely, it started dawning on me that it was revenge and not a genuine second chance or opportunity. So anyways, y'all, it is what it is. So that's what this clip is. All right. So I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Y'all, let's discuss psychological warfare. So, I've been documenting what these people have been doing to me for the last few months, right? Right up to the point where they gave me the job to teach again. I don't know why they did it. I really don't understand. It's baffling to me with the actions that are being taken. It's the weirdest thing I've ever dealt with in my life. Aside from the targeting itself, I mean, this is all just being a targeted individual and revenge and retribution, etc. That's typically the theme of targeting. So anyway, remember I told you it seems like they wanted me to do some shit job when they actually gave me the job. And so it seems like when I actually started doing a good job, I started receiving retribution. So now it's this aggressive psychological warfare attack to try to make me question myself, to try to make me doubt myself, to try to make me stammer all over my words and stand up there and make a fool of myself. I realized that's the goal. And so it's like you slowly but surely start realizing, oh, okay, it's the same satanic ritualistic abuse when you get an opportunity. And it'll be like under the guise of second chance. And it's not. There's no second chance present. Understand that. You better get on your knees and pray God comes through and gets you out of this satanic, ritualistic thing that you're put into. Because there's no true second chance. Somebody that was angry, that wanted to seek revenge, it has to be like somebody that's connected, well-connected. You pissed off somebody that's well-connected, and they're trying to destroy you. That's what this program is designed to do. It's destructive. There's nothing constructive about it. It's satanic, it's ritualistic, and it's destructive, and it's designed to destroy someone. So if someone puts you in there, that's a real enemy. They wanted you to end. They were trying to get you to your demise when you get put in this thing. So they'll pretend like they're trying to be constructive and it's about change. And then you're like, but I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm doing positive things and I'm still being attacked. What's going on? This program is designed for destruction. There's nothing positive about it. And if you're smart or your brain is some sort of creative anything and you seem like you're getting the best of these people, they will stop at nothing to destroy you. So anyway, you know what's been going on, right? You know, like I said, what's been happening in the last year and change since, leaving that old gym with that man that did whatever it was that he did. And then the things that followed, the thing that happened with his girlfriend that was like some sort of gang stalking, bullying tactic they tried to set up that backfired, that they punished me for. Remember I told you like literally a week after I left that gym, after the thing happened with the man's girlfriend, they started pulling out the fact that they had recorded me having intercourse in my apartment 4 years prior with an ex-boyfriend. So it's a series of different things that's going on, y'all. There are layers to this thing. Listen to the big loud rooster. You hear how it's trying to stop me from talking now that I'm listing out the facts and the things that's taken place and the retribution for things that are out of my control. The same things that I've been documenting, y'all. Listen. The whole reason I'm up right now making this video is because I was sleeping and I woke up. I'm used to doing security, so my body wakes me up sometimes at night. And I notice I wake up and the rooster's going ham. It's going bap, 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 bap. As soon as I open my eyes, I was like, oh boy. And I listened to the screen and the screen was playing some random show I didn't put on. I guess, the algorithm just continued to play. Sometimes they'll automatically go into the next video depending on what streaming app you're on. So it was something about mysteries, talking about, I guess, ancient alien civilizations and mysteries. And so they're talking about some random guy, I don't remember what they said his profession was, but he had discovered UFOs or whatever. And they were saying there was some sort of handwriting in his book, and the handwriting didn't come from him. They knew it was from the aliens or something, and it was a big cover up, and he was trying to expose the aliens. But as soon as they started saying something about the handwriting wasn't his, the rooster goes, so again, starting the psychological warfare and trying to discredit me for the lesson plans that were created via ChatGPT, right? I'm going to talk about this workshop that I went to that they also tried to clown me for, where I found out that they're doing the same thing using AI tools, but there are more restrictions and less room for creativity. So I'm going to talk about that. I made this whole video, and the video got deleted, talking about what took place for this workshop that I had on Friday. It was this big, huge production for the island and for everyone to see. Again, this humiliation, ritualistic, abuse is what it was. I don't know what it is, but they're trying their damnedest to break me. And they're literally saying it too. In these workshops and in these presentations, that's all about me. They're literally telling me that they're trying to break me. That's why I kept saying when I was creating the lesson plans, I'm like, why am I being attacked for creating lesson plans? Just setting up all these weird gang stalking things, hitting my head with energy weapons. I'm like, but don't you want me to do the job that you gave me? Then I'm coming with good ideas and with good concepts. Then it's discrediting me. Oh, it's a ChatGPT. I'm like, but I'm telling it what to create, though. These are my concepts and ideas. Plus, before I did it, you saw me write an MLA formatted paper with a good topic, a school or a high school appropriate topic, things that are relevant to high schoolers. You saw me write a comprehensive MLA formatted paper. I created a color scheme legend highlighting the key components of the paper. I put it into Grammarly. There were no grammatical errors. In fact, the only grammatical error was the in-text citation I got from Cambridge.org. It's a discrediting, gaslighting, psychological warfare, ritualistic abuse program. I've seen other targets talk about this. I saw this whole video they sent to me 2 years ago about COINTELPRO and what they did to Martin Luther King. So this is what they do. They try to discredit you. They try to embarrass you. They try to make you have a warped sense of self. And the ultimate goal is destruction. So anyways, it's crazy. And then I'm getting retribution for things that happened at the facility too. Remember, all these people are connected, and some of those people in the facility were police officers, or the higher ups in the facility, not like the main correction officers, but they had like 1 or 2 police officers in there. So you have to understand, this is why the police department is involved and well connected into when you're in that facility as a corrections officer, you're considered a peace officer. So you go to police academy like the police officers do. So they're all friends. They're all connected. They're all in the same age group. You hear them making the noise with the rooster. They're all in the same age group as the cyberstalking, cyberbullying guy, the guy that they've been holding a grudge on me from over a decade ago. Remember, before I was a target, they were hacking dating websites and sending men to have sex with me. So this has been a grudge that's been being held for years and years and years. And for years, I think they wanted to have me where they have me right now. So they're trying to destroy me. All these humiliating tactics, all these games that they're playing, all these psychological warfare attacks. This has been ongoing for years. And for years, they have been trying to get me to a point where they could break me and destroy me. This is a grudge from over a decade ago. Understand that. So anyways, so you know what was happening at the facility. I don't have to document. I've been making videos talking about the crazy shit that happened there. Hold on a minute, y'all. Yeah, I've been telling y'all about the craziness that took place in that facility, right? So when I was in the facility, towards the end, before they removed me from the post, simply because I was creating comprehensive lesson plans and they were doing attacking tactics. They were attacking me, and doing tactics. And so I made videos talking about what was happening. All of a sudden I get reassigned. They put me over at the call center, the same call center post that they took from me, by the way. Anyway, so I'm talking about the security now. Remember, they had put me to do security at the booth by the facility where I was trying to become a corrections officer again. And they kept hinting that I was going to get my job back. And it really seemed like I was about to get my job back. But they were doing the same bipolar shit they were doing when I worked there, where you're insinuating I'm going to get my job back, but then you're doing all these horrible, mean bullying tactics when I leave the job, and it's this weird bipolar treatment. So eventually it seemed like I was really about to get back into the facility. And one morning they were doing the same weird thing they used to do in the morning, sending the directed combo or sensitization through the technology, through something I'm watching. And they sent something positive this time, kind of insinuating that I was about to get back into the facility as a cadet. It was something about good job, rookie. It was directed combo. It was a show I was watching, and you're a rookie when you're a cadet. So anyway, it was directed at me. I've talked about this in prior videos. I can't even remember what was being said in the show. But the person said, good job, rookie. Like, to insinuate you're a rookie now. Like, you're about to get back in the facility. So I remember I got awkward when that was said. And I got this awkward look on my face. They got pissed. They took that as me not wanting the job, and I didn't want the job, and whatever. They already thought I didn't want the job. I think from the things that took place shortly after that rookie thing, the things that they did with the technology, they actually did V2K in my head. They sent stuff through the technology about teaching. I realized, and I knew that too from when I was in there, from comments that were being said, I realized they felt like I never wanted that job. And so that was largely why they were doing what they were doing. 30% of it was the teaching thing. 60% of it was what happened with the man from the gym. And I would say 10% of it was truly the offensive things I shared out of anger in reaction to the things that happened to me. I don't think that was the main tiff in there at all. I think 60% of it was the man from the gym. That's their good friend. And 30% of it was the teaching thing and them thinking I didn't want the job. So it was this thing where trying to like humiliate me and punish me and just weird stuff, man. So anyway, fast forward to where I am now, because I don't want to repeat everything that I've already talked about. Everybody knows what happened. It was seen on camera. Everything that took place, all the torture, etc., and punishment for things that are out of my control. Even the whole me getting fired from that job. I got fired from the job because this girl said, I can't believe that girl thinks people are jealous of her. Literally, like 10 or 20 minutes after I had just been on her unit when she was doing head count, and I had gotten checked out on her unit by some of the guys on her unit. Because the lady that was training me was also kind of assisting her because she was a new corrections officer. She was past the point that I was at. So I was a cadet. So what happens is you're a cadet for however long, and then they send you to police academy, and then you become a corrections officer. But still you're considered a novice or a novice corrections officer. So you still have like a senior correction officer over on the neighboring unit that will stand over you and guide you and keep an eye on you. I was a cadet, so I was sitting up underneath this lady, this senior corrections officer, and while I was sitting under her, she was also keeping an eye on that girl that had just come back from police academy. So I had to go over on her unit when she did head count because my senior officer went over there with her. So while they're doing head count, when I walked in there, the guys was like, "What? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" Apparently they're seeing through my eyes, so they knew all this happened. "Who's that? Who's that?" They said, "Wait, that's nurse. That's nurse." And I had already been in there for months. I didn't know why they were going on like that, but it was getting checked out left and right in there, which was not a big deal. That's just how it is when you're a new corrections officer if you look decent. But anyway, so that happened. Then I went back to the other unit where the senior officer was, and she went outside on a phone call or something. And this guy on our unit now came to the window, and he was trying to get to the library, and apparently they didn't really want to let him go to the library because he gives them a hard time or something like that, right? But anyway, she kept kind of leading him on and making him think that later, like he was going to get to go to the library. So for me, I would have just told him, listen, it's not happening today. So stop coming and harassing. But anyway, she must know why she did it the way she did it, right? I don't want problems with her. And that same correction officer made comments about, directed combo too. Like, she used to be really mean and aggressive whenever she had to train me. And one of the things she said one day, she sounded pissed too. She was like, if you have this degree and that degree, why are you here? We already have enough chiefs in here. Why are you here? Like, one day she was screaming at the top of her lungs saying something about, somebody, and it sounded like directed convo to me. I was like, what the fuck? She already was so annoyed with having to train me. I was like, okay. Anyway, and anytime the guys would be checking me out too, they're rubbing their nose like at the guys, like trying to hint to the guys that I stink, and then they started telling the guys stuff about me, and the guys started moving different in there with me. It was just a bunch of like horrible stuff in that facility, dude. So anyways, nonetheless, after the girl made the comment, so I ended up sitting down after I dealt with the dude on my unit now, on the side where the senior officer had went outside, and I told him, hey, I went out there to talk to her, and she said that she hasn't heard back yet from the, the officer at the library, but she'll get back to you later. So then he starts checking me and asking me questions about why I talk the way I do, where am I from, this and that, and I start telling him my background and that I'm half Trini, and he was like, wow, those women from Trinidad are beautiful, da-da-da, whatever he was saying, man. Then I go and I sit down on my unit. The girl hearing all of this, by the way, because I'm on camera. They're all watching me. I sit down. I hear her having some conversation over on her unit. And remember, I was dealing with a lot of directed convo in there. This happened all the time in there, where they'll be having conversations with someone in the room, or they'll be on a phone call with someone, but they're saying things that are directed at me. So I didn't know if this was directed convo or not. I literally had just come from getting checked out outside on my unit, and then also over on her unit, the guys were checking me out. So I sat there and I heard her saying, man, I can't believe that girl think anybody jealous of her. I can't believe that. And remember, they were just being aggressive in there with me. I can't believe that girl think anybody jealous of her. So when I heard that being said, I immediately got awkward because I had been dealing with so much in there and directed convo and stuff, and the cameras are on me. So the people on the camera are hearing what's being said too. So I remember getting this awkward look on my face and not knowing what to do with myself. I heard the birds chirping and she trailed off too. She said what she said and then she trailed off. It's not like she said what she said and then kept talking. And I made the assumption, because of dealing with directed convo and the treatment I was getting in there and what took place right before she made the comment. She made the comment and then she trailed off. And so that's what made me I was like, oh, good. I really felt like it was for me, directed convo. So I remember sitting there awkwardly and not knowing what to do with myself. They didn't want me to color in the coloring book. They didn't want me to go on the computer or do anything. I just had to sit there while the whole island stares at me. Understand the type of torture these people have been doing to me. Everyone else in there is on phone or they're on the computer. They're allowed to do other things, multitask, while monitoring and watching what's going on. I was the only person that had to sit there and I couldn't touch anything. I couldn't do anything. I had to sit there for 8 hours straight while being stared at. I want you to understand the level of torture and what these people have been doing to me. So anyway, I got up, feeling uncomfortable because the directed convo happened and I wasn't supposed to be doing anything. Just set up like this while they stare and get the sadistic enjoyment they were getting, the kicks and the shits and the giggles in the back rooms watching. I got up uncomfortable. And so I went to go to the library. And I noticed as I'm heading down to the library, the girl with the blonde hair that they tried to create something with, she's heading up while I'm heading down. And so she made some kind of conversation with me about training, PT training. And then she went up there and I went down to the computer lab. But literally a week later, they fired me. They got together and they started putting complaints together that I don't do anything and I just sit there and da-da-da. And they fired me. Mind you, every time I was sitting underneath an officer, I would ask them, is there anything I can do to help? No, just sit there and monitor. Then they go on the computer and they're on the computer and on their cell phone and I'm sitting there staring at the wall. Understand what was taking place. Then I talked to some of the officers in there and they slipped up and told me, no, some of the cadets were allowed to have their cell phones in here. The cadets were allowed to have, but stick to the rules with me though. No cell phone, no anything. Sit there, it was a punitive measure, and be stared at on camera while all these awkward things are happening. Directed convo, people are staring at you. This was all punishment. They have been trying to get some sort of retribution and revenge for a hot minute. Then the guards treat me like shit. They're acting like my breath stinks. All kinds of horrible stuff. So anyway, eventually they fired me a week later. So that was like a whole year of me trying to get back into the facility. I didn't think I could get back into teaching with what was happening, the controversial, whatever that was happening. So I, was trying to get back into the facility and get my job back, even though it was a horrible environment for me. It was horrible treatment. It was some sort of government job, so at least I'd be making, some sort of money aside from doing security. So anyway, they kept hinting that I would get my job back after I advocated for myself and talked about the stuff that happened and how unfair it was. They kept hinting I would get my job back and hinting I would get it back, but it was just kind of like nothing was happening. It was like the standstill, but they just kept hinting I was going to get my job back. And meanwhile, things were still happening in the old gym with their friend, and I was having reactions. So anyway, nonetheless, and when I say their friend, I'm talking about the man from the gym that attacked me. Forget what I was going to say, though. I forgot what I was going to say. So I remember at some point in time last year, my mom came to me and said, hey, I talked to Miss So-and-so from HR for the Department of Education. Look, they're up watching me in the neighborhood, y'all. Look, as soon as I'm talking about this part, I'm hearing a dog barking. They're up at this. Look at the time. It's 4:49. These people don't sleep, This is so fascinating to them. I think they stay up watching me sleep, hoping that I'll wake up so they can get more entertainment. Mind you, you have rapists down here, you have child molesters down here, you have killers down here. All kinds of stuff have happened down here. I grew up down here. I know about a bunch of shit that happened. Way worse than anything I've ever done, and nothing like this has happened to anybody here on this island. You have people beating their parents, beating their grandparents. I'm talking physical fights, blood, etc., and these people know about it. It's something with me. Something personal with me. Anyway, so nonetheless, why they're doing this to me. It's not about any of the things they're pretending it's about. It's some sort of personal thing with me. Anyway, so nonetheless, I forgot what I was gonna say. And before I even got in there too, my dad had done something to kind of kick off the abuse too. I remember while he's driving me there, he's pretending like my breath is stinking. And so that gave them the idea to act like my breath stunk in there. That was another thing they kept doing. I was wearing a mask and then sitting so far away from them, acting like my breath is stink. I'm asking them questions about the job. It's like they're rolling their eyes and it's like my breath stinks. So eventually I purchased a coloring book and I just kind of crunched into the corner and tried to color in the coloring book and stay out the way. And I was like, if I could just get past this point where I'm being forced to sit up underneath, someone that clearly doesn't want to train me, then I'll be able to get my own role, like my own seat in there, and I won't have to deal with, I'll have to work with them, but I won't have to like be right up underneath the correction officer. They're complaining about me coloring in the coloring book. Y'all, are you hearing? Do you know that creepy, weird man with the red eyes that's really skinny? Remember I told you there's this really skinny, like he looks like a, he looks scary to me. Like he looks like a drug addict. Like, you know how a crackhead looks? Like, that's kind of what he looks like. He has these fire red eyes and he's really skinny and like them crackheads like you see in the alley and you kind of try to run. Like, that's what he looks like. And he's always up in his yard doing weird things. He's like attached to me like a tick. He's obsessed with the things that I say. He's obsessed with my situation and the things that are happening with me. He actually went by the gate and started screaming that it was burning him when he heard that I would be teaching again. From the time I stepped foot in this neighborhood, he's been doing things. I remember he was following me around the house in the earlier years when I had first moved in the neighborhood. He would do the noise campaign with the cutting of the grass. And then I would move to the other side of the house. And because he knows the neighbors around the place, he would hop in his truck with the lawnmower and go to the yard that was nearest to the other side of the house that I would go to and cut grass. He's very scary. Do you know he's up right now at 4:52 in his yard making noise? I'm pretty sure it's him. It's either him or someone else because there's another entity in that yard that takes over when he leaves. It's something in that yard right now at 4:52, going shh and making noises to get attention. Do you understand what I'm dealing with? It's like legal stalking and harassment. It's so creepy. He scares me. I think he would hurt me if he could. I keep saying it. His eyes are fire red. He looks scary to me. Anyway. So back to what I was saying though. I forgot what I was saying though. I was talking about what happened before I even got into the damn job, where my dad was kind of like giving them the green light to do abusive stuff, right? So while he's driving me there, he acting like my breath stinks. And then I get into the job, and that was one of the main tactics they were using, was acting like my breath stinks. The lieutenant that was showing me around the facility, he was horrible, like a complete bully. And he was just like I think eventually they realized he intimidated me because they made him stop, like they pretended like he got fired. And I think they did that because they realized he was intimidating to me. With the way that first weekend there went with him, he was really, whoa. Like, I thought the others were bad. He was real bad with the direct convo and the things he was doing. I was like, oh my God. I realized it's not even just me. Like, he has a personal problem because they have the problem with me in there. So that's why it was really bad. But I realized I think he's just kind of that personality anyway, because I remember the lady in the front office. So surprisingly enough, she has the same last name as the cyberstalking, cyberbullying dude. She was in the front office, and it seems like she was new to the front office when I got in there. She was still trying to learn the job, and she was kind of making errors a little bit. Not major, but like these little fumbling things. And I remember him kind of like talking to her real rough. about something that was going on. I was like, damn, maybe this is really just his personality. And I remember her kind of jumping with the way he was talking to her. I was like, maybe this is really just his personality. And then with me now, it's worse because of whatever feelings they have towards me and whatever they're doing in here. But I'm realizing that's also just his personality. Anyway, so nonetheless, but I'm this monster and I'm so mean. I've never been that mean to somebody. Anyway, and especially someone that hadn't done anything to me. Anyway, so nonetheless, so that was the start of, that's what kicked everything off anyway. They were already planning to be horrible to me in there. But that was something that kicked it off, was my dad giving me the ride and pretending like my breath stunk. So it's just been like just years of just abuse and torture. And it's like, what I think what peeves me off is then they'll do this thing about, leave, we don't need you, leave, go. But I'm like, but when I tried to leave and I actually had things going for myself where I could have actually stood on my own 2 feet, where I had the resume, I had at least a little something saved, I had 4,000 and change saved, I could have made it out there. You purposely attached this thing to me. Then when I realized it had followed me when I got to the Tennessee Greyhound station and that Rasta dude, I talked about this in my full story, walked by with the bird chirping, he watched me the way he watched me. That was when I reacted, and that was the first reaction I had that created whatever, that caused the targeting to go viral. I was on the bus when I realized, oh my God, this thing followed me. And so I felt like everyone was watching me and everyone was a part of it. And so I started having this PTSD reaction. I started just acting like a complete bitch. I took the Lysol and I kept spraying my legs and I was acting scornful. I wasn't doing that on any of the other buses, mind you. Mind you, 2 stations prior, this guy that I had made friends with, this gay guy that got dropped off in Atlanta, was doing the same thing and worse. He took my Lysol and he was actually spraying at people that were coughing. And he was genuinely doing that because he didn't have a mask, and apparently he was like susceptible to COVID. He had had heart surgery. So he was like spraying at homeless people for coughing and not covering them out. I even had to tell him, stop. I said, hey, I'll get you a mask at the next stop. I wasn't spraying at homeless people. At the Tennessee station, really, it was more so reactive abuse, just realizing, oh shit, this thing followed me. And so I started feeling like everyone was a gang stalker. So even the guy that was sitting next to me, directly to the left of me, that was not coughing, that was not homeless, he was getting the same treatment. I was moving away from him like this, and the homeless guy that was coughing, that was on the other side of the aisle, that was sitting in the seats right across from me on the other side of the aisle, he had his feet kind of hanging out into the middle row where you walk, in between the 2 seats, the 2 rows of seats. And he kept coughing, and so I kept going, spraying my legs whenever he would cough and acting scornful. But it wasn't just with him. It was also with the dude that was sitting to the left of me that wasn't homeless and that wasn't coughing. He even started purposely doing this thing where he was opening his legs to touch my leg to be spiteful. And then that was when it turned into this big clown show shit show on the bus. And everyone had access to the cameras. Maybe they always did, but they weren't getting involved. And they were all watching me and doing things. I remember it was so stressful, I ended up falling asleep on the bus because I was so stressed out by what was happening around me. I don't know, it's like my body shut down, like this defense mechanism. And then when I got to the next station, I could tell things had changed. Everybody was involved. Everywhere that I went, everybody, even if they knew before, they were pretending like they didn't know that I was a target, everyone was making it obvious that they knew I was a target. Everywhere I went, everyone in the vicinity was watching me and doing things. And that was the start of the nightmare and the start of the targeting going viral. So every time they send these gaslighting terms about leave, blah, blah, I'm like, but you know full well I tried to leave, and you know full well what you did. You know full well I'm stuck here. You know full well. That's why they also keep sending things about stuck. After I started to address the gaslighting, then they started sending things about stuck. Because they know full well I don't have an option. They know this is where I have to be with what's happened. They know full well. Trust me, they know. It's an antagonizing thing when they do the leave thing because they know that's not an option. And so I'm forced to deal with the torture and the abuse and the fake second chances, and I'm setting up these skits for sadistic entertainment in back rooms. Understand what I'm dealing with. And enough is never enough, and they're trying to break me. And do you understand that people that go through what I go through, typically, if they have rights and they're not a target, they get millions? Like those wrongful lawsuits, those wrongful conviction lawsuits, where people have been in jail for years and years and years and suffer pain, torture, abuse, pain and suffering, loss of assets, loss of time. Do you know these people get millions? So I thought them giving me the teaching job was some sort of them trying to at least like give me some sort of, I guess you could say, reparation for the things they've done. But they're still doing stuff. They're making it hard for me. They're torturing me. They're trying to do psychological warfare. They're trying to make it so I can't do the job. Like, it's just horrible. I'm trying. I'm actually making an effort. You see me trying. I'm purchasing props. I'm actually trying to put together good lesson plans. That's the problem. They're telling me I'm doing too much. They're hitting my head with energy weapons. They're clowning me for using ChatGPT. And then I sit through the workshop and find out they want me to use their AI chat bot to create lessons. And there's less room for creativity where it's instead you just press buttons and create the lessons instead of using your concepts. Then if I were to do nothing and half-ass it and be lazy for real and do some half-ass job, which is what I think they were hoping, then they would say I was lazy and I don't care and I'm not. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. They just want to torture me. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this more in the morning, right? I'm going to talk about this more in the morning because it's this hour of the night. But I understand they're still doing the psychological warfare. At this hour of the morning, I open my eyes. Tomorrow is school, by the way. Tomorrow is the first day, and they've been doing all this psychological warfare. I need to talk about what happened at that workshop on Friday, those set of workshops, because I made a video that got deleted. Psychological warfare like crazy. Then they sent me this video yesterday, this movie called They, with this female that's getting her doctorate's degree, right? She's a doctoral candidate, right? She's trying to get her doctorates, and she's in medical school. And she was going through a situation, but it was spiritual. I think this is spiritual too anyway. But not like some psychological warfare program. It was literally like these demons that like picked certain children when they were younger and marked them, put some sort of tracking device in them similar to what happens to targets. And I actually remember the movie too because I remember the movies freaked the shit out of me when I was a child. It freaked me out. All of a sudden that's floating around in my recommended. I'm like, wow, this is very similar to this program, though. And so anyway, the demons came back to, like, you know, harass these people when they got older. And I guess ultimately try to, like kidnap them out of the world and into this dark, scary world. So anyway, she's doing all these psychological things when the demon, like, surfaces and is coming back for these children that got marked when they were younger. And so because of the things that she's dealing with, which, by the way, it emulated targeting. It was so crazy how it emulated targeting, and the demons were controlling the lights and the things around her, and it was psychological warfare, etc. But again, there was more of a spiritual element to it rather than it being this psychological government program. But I think this is spiritual anyway. I've been saying that. But anyway, so nonetheless, while she's sitting there trying to do this interview with these doctors, this interview she practiced for, she was stammering over her words. She was like, da, 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 and she was speaking clearly at first, and then she started going, da, 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 and she couldn't speak. She said, I'm sorry, I'm going through a lot right now. That's to tell you they know. Anyway, y'all, I'll come back in a little bit and finish this video because I want you to understand that school is tomorrow and they've done so much. And then if I go in front of those students and I make a fool of myself, then they'll gaslight about it and I'll go outside and people will be smirking and watching me and sipping drinks. All right, y'all, so I'll be back. I forgot to mention the main reason why I made the video. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to talk about everything because there's a lot to talk about. But before I forget, the main reason I sat here and started making a video at this hour was because I was then on Instagram after the rooster started going ham as soon as I opened my eyes. And I was hearing the psychological warfare, sensitization, shadow networking through that ancient alien civilization movie that I was talking about in the last clip, at the beginning of the last clip. Then I went onto Instagram and I'm just scrolling through Instagram and I see this video with Jim Jones. If you're familiar with him, you are. If you're not, you're not. The rapper from New York, man. And he's, wasn't Mobb Deep? I can't remember what group he was in. Not Mobb Deep. I don't remember what group he was in, but he rapped with Fabuloso and Jules Santana. You know, the millennials know about him. He's older now. Anyway, he was riding on, like, some bridge in New York, and Fabulous, like, convinced him to ride on the bridge in New York. So now he's halfway on the bridge, and there's, like, this weird light coming from the bike. And he said, y'all, I don't think I want to do this anymore. He said, I'm here halfway on the bridge, and look, there's a bus behind me. And he said, yo, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then in the background, the rooster going, bah, 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 bah. So that's to tell you they're actually doing psychological warfare tactics to try to discourage me from doing the job. The job they gave me, by the way. It's like some sort of retribution because of the word rookie and the way I reacted to the word rookie and the things that took place in the facility and the things that happened with the man from the gym that was out of my control. And I keep making good points in these videos so I'm getting more retribution and punishment. It's just crazy. It was just like, yo, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then, mind you, listen to the bipolarness, though. But just now when I was, hear the rooster house going ham. Just now when I made the clip, though, and I was saying I thought they gave me the job as some sort of, like, reparation for the things I've been through, the rooster was going, bam, 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 bam. And this is what they were doing in the past too when I talked about it. But now I'm talking about this part where I was talking about Jim Jones saying, man, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then Rooster's going, it's psychological warfare. They're playing a bunch of games. It's revenge. And they refuse to let me out of this program. So they know I have to take the abuse and what they're doing. And they keep putting on these big fanatical shows for the people around. And it's like I'm the butt of the... I don't want this. And you have to understand, I'm a very introverted person. I'm introverted. I'm shy. I'm reserved. Like, I'm telling you, I think something spiritual is going on. I've been saying it for years. How is it like this? And it's this thing where it's years and years and years it's attached to me and I haven't committed a crime. And it's like, it keeps turning into these things where millions of viewers are watching. And it's like this humiliation, ritualistic, like type thing, the things that they're doing. I've never heard about anything like this in my life. Where someone hasn't committed a crime, but all these viewers are watching, and it's like you can't get away from the situation, and every day it's torture, and it's like these, it seems like sadistic, ritualistic, like things that they're setting up. Where you're like the center of attention, and it's like this roast session, and it's just nonstop. I think something spiritual is going on, I'm telling you. I swear to God, I think something spiritual is going on. I think somebody did something, I'm telling you. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all in the next one, man. It's almost like equivalent to that movie they sent me earlier because, yeah, it seems like it's just this government thing and it's this, all of a sudden this program exists that I never heard about in my life, by the way. When all these crazy things have happened, like murders, rapes, etc. Teachers messing with students for real. And people knowing about it. But anyways, so nonetheless, all these crazy things have happened. But for some reason, I was deemed worthy of this weird-ass, creepy-ass thing that all of a sudden exists. This thing where they target you when you're on camera and everybody's watching and it's millions of viewers and enough is never enough and they keep every day doing stuff. Like they can't satiate this thirst for revenge and this thirst to see you suffer. Nothing is enough. It's weird. I've never dealt with anything like this or heard about anything like this in my life. I think something spiritual is going on. And so it's actually reminding me of that movie I was telling you about that I saw earlier, except it was the spiritual thing that people around her thought she was crazy. The only difference is the people around me are involved. But I think it's spiritual. I do. I think some sort of spiritual thing is going on. I do. I really do. I'm telling you I do. And my sister and I met these girls that were actually witches. Like right after we left out of the weird situation with the roommate. With the roommate, we met these girls that were actually brujas. We realized, and that's why the friendship we ended up ending the friendship when we realized that our beliefs didn't align spiritually. But they were into holistic health like us. They seemed cool and natural and on a positive vibe and like people that we would want to be friends with. And then we realized they were into some weird stuff. I remember the girls even coming to St. Thomas randomly after she met us when I moved home. And I kept telling Makita, look, she's putting subliminal stuff on Facebook. I've noticed her putting up like these subliminal posts. All of a sudden she took this random trip to St. Thomas and she was talking about some water work and something doing water work and some weird shit she was doing by the beach. And I don't know if that's connected to the roommate or not, because the roommate didn't know these people, but we kind of found out, like, just being friends with her on Facebook, we saw that she had made this new friend. And so obviously just out of curiosity, you click on the person's page. So Makita clicked on her page and saw that the girl was mutual friends. The new friend that my roommate made was mutual friends with these girls that were witches. I remember there was some weird stuff that happened in the apartment too. Like, I just think something's going on, y'all. I'm sorry. I really do. I don't care. I'm not bearing false witness. I'm not accusing anyone. I think something's happening though. It's just not making sense to me. And I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not still sharing the offensive things. Why am I still being punished? Why are you still punishing me? Why won't you let me go? Anyway, I'll continue this later, y'all. I'll be back. So it's this, she didn't want to do it anymore. And they're making the noises outside. But why did you give me the job then? And then I'm actually doing a good job when I'm creating comprehensive lesson plans and you see me trying. She's doing too much. She's doing too much and attacking me and hitting my head with energy weapons and all these weird tactics to make me uncomfortable, trying to make me look incompetent. But then if I had half-assed it and I really did some sloppy slap together thing, they would have been content. And it would have been, see, she doesn't care. You see, she's lazy. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. These people have a problem with me and they're trying to destroy me. They are trying to destroy me. I'll be back. You can see it's still like bright and early. It's still early in the morning, right? 6:10. So I'm laying here now and I'm watching a movie, right? And it's called Flatliners, and I watched the newer version of it yesterday. This older version I'm watching now, I watched actually like a year or two ago. So that's really the one I'm familiar with. I think I saw the new one too because it kind of seemed familiar. But this is the one I really know, this older one called Flatliner. You know, it has Kevin Bacon in it and some A-list actors from the 90s. You know, so I'm sitting there watching the show and I started daydreaming. I'm laying here, I'm going to get a little bit more sleep and I'm going to get up and start preparing for Monday, please God. So, you know, I'm laying there and I'm daydreaming about escaping. You remember the video I just talked about? It's like this endless torture. So I was daydreaming about, there's this area, this back area by the refinery, this big refinery on island where the welders work. And there's an area like where there's like this hang off or this cliff, and then there's like this big, huge like body of water. I discovered it years ago. And so I was daydreaming about driving my car over the cliff and pretending like the car drowned. And then climbing out the window so they could think I died, like faking my death. Then climbing out the window and swimming like to the side of the cement and like having some sort of getaway, like, you know, I don't know, it was just this like hopeless daydream that, you know, will never happen. Anyway, so I was daydreaming about getting away, you know, finally getting away and them like not attaching something to me, like truly being free. They started to get enraged. Like I stopped the daydream. I'm like, you know, because I remember they're monitoring my thoughts and I stopped the daydream. They started to get enraged about the idea of me escaping the torture. They started going ham with the birds. Chap! 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 Going ham with the birds. And then now the person's flatlining in a movie. If you look at the theme of the movie, you'll know what the movie's about. The first person, when he was flatlining, they weren't making noises. Now when the person's flatlining, they're going, chap! 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 Aggressively. Like, they're so pressed about just the idea of me getting away from their torture and abuse. It is scary, y'all. Just the idea of me getting away from the torture and abuse is, like, enraging them. Anyways, y'all. Anyway, I'll be back to finish doing the documentation. Like I said, I just have to talk about that. You hear the thing still going ham in the back? Listen. Anyways, y'all. All right, peace out. Y'all, so I'm back to finish the video. This has been a day full of psychological warfare, too. And I just sat there and I was watching shows and it was more psychological stuff. But yeah, just to reiterate, the reason I was going off in that spiel or what sounded like a rant was because I woke up in the middle of the night. And that's what my body does typically anyway. You could kind of say I'm not nocturnal, but it's like this nocturnal disposition, or it's like you could say my internal clock is off from working security for so long. So as soon as I opened my eyes, like I said, that thing was happening on the show where I was watching the Ancient Alien Civilization episode. And they were talking about this guy that had alien writing in his book, basically. And he had found out that there were UFOs and whatever was going on in the show. And they were talking about the fact that they could tell the handwriting wasn't his. And so the rooster immediately started going, caw, caw, caw. So again, this was a hint at the Chat GPT lesson plans where I created lesson plan, look at the stammering, using my own concepts. So I told Chat what to create. So anyway, then I go to this workshop on Friday, which I'm going to talk about in detail. The whole day was full of just like roasting and directed convo, and it seemed like this like comedy show where I'm the butt of the joke and everybody, God knows how many viewers are watching. Anyway, I go to the workshop, the last workshop of the day, and I found out that the lesson plans that they're providing for us are, first of all, they have lesson plans already provided, but then there's this Chat AI tool where you can create lesson plans. So it's just like Chat GPT. The only difference is it's designed for uniformity and their specificity. So really you're just clicking buttons and selecting options for the lesson. You're not able to really use your own concepts and ideas to create the lesson. Like where with Chat GPT, you can say, hey, create a lesson plan where the students are going to write an informative essay and I want them to write a newspaper article. I did that with them. I actually had a lesson plan like that before I left Island. So instead of having to recreate that lesson plan because I didn't have access to it anymore, I made Chat recreate the lesson plan. It's different with their AI tools. You're just basically using the curriculum and then I guess whatever it is that they want you to teach the students based on the textbook, etc. You're using that to create the lesson plans with their AI tool. So it's just like ChatGPT, but more specificity, with the goal and intent of uniformity across the board. So all of the teachers will be teaching the same thing. But the point is it's still some sort of AI tool that's creating the lesson plan. And actually, it's just less creativity. So less of my thoughts and more so just whatever it is that you wanted us to create. But they were clowning me for using ChatGPT. When I used chat, I was using my concepts and my ideas, and I was telling chat what to create. Anyway, so nonetheless, but again, to get back to the point, the reason I went on that spiel and what sounded like a rant was because after, they were trying to, again, do the psychological warfare and throw insinuations about chat, then I saw that thing on Instagram where Jim Jones, the rapper, he's like a retired rapper, y'all. He's older now, but he was from back in the day. The millennials know who he is. He was apparently riding on some New York bridge with Fabulous. And Fabulous convinced him to ride on the bridge, right? So they're rich. They have cars and everything, but they decided to ride on the bridge with bikes. And so they're in big traffic riding on the bridge. So he pulled out his phone and started recording himself. And he's like halfway across the bridge now. It's kind of too late to turn back. He said, hey, yo, I don't know why I let that mofo talk me into doing this. He said, I'm here on the bridge and look at the bus behind me. He said, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I don't think I want to. He was saying it in a joking way. But I don't think I want to do this anymore. And the rooster started going, quack, quack, quack. And so after it was already making noises about the chat, the AI, the writing not being his. Sorry, I had somebody yell at me. Yeah, okay. Psychological warfare. But anyway, so after that, now they're making noises for him saying, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And all I could think about was what took place on Friday in the workshop and what took place when I was creating the lesson plans when they were beaming my head with energy weapons. And so that's why I said at the beginning, why did they give me the job? That's why I said that at the beginning of the video, because they're making noises with roosters about, I don't think I want to do this anymore. As soon as I open my eyes in the wee hours of the morning, and I'm just thinking about what's taken place over the course of the last few months while I'm actually sitting and making an effort and creating lesson plans. They're beaming my head with energy weapons. They're trying to discredit the lesson plan. They're telling me I'm doing too much. They're roasting me in workshops while millions of people are watching. I'm sure it's millions. I'm sure they've hinted to me on several different occasions that at least 1 million, if not more, the viewers, the view count. Like, a lot of people are tuned in. So it's like this big production. And it's like, when is it going to be enough? When are you going to release me out of this thing? It's like this sadistic, ritualistic thing. And that's why I was going off and saying the things that I was saying. Because of the noise campaign. As soon as I open my eyes, it's like I can't even open my eyes for 2 seconds in the wee hours of the morning without being attacked with the psychological warfare. And so then, I don't think I want to do this. And the rooster's going, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, okay, so this was all revenge then. It wasn't really a second chance. You weren't really given a second chance. It was revenge. It was the same continued ritualistic torture. Because it was obvious. As soon as, I started creating lesson plans and they were comprehensive, good lesson plans, I'm getting beamed with energy weapons. They're setting up all these weird tactics. So I'm like, why is this happening? Then they removed me from the facility. I'm now doing security at the call center. Then they set up a workshop where they're roasting me throughout the workshop. All day long, I'm getting roasted. So I'm sitting there looking like this in the last workshop. They tried to pretend like I didn't know what was going on and I wasn't comprehending what the man was saying. When it was easy concepts, there was nothing confusing about what the man said. And when I came home and I talked about the workshop and I broke down why I was looking the way that I was looking, immediately when I went outside into the living room, my mom was watching a show and I guess the AI was doing its own thing and it wasn't doing what they told it to do. It said she was a brilliant, she graduated at the top of her law school and she ended up turning into a tough prosecutor. Because I made a video talking about what happened after that last workshop and the whole thing got deleted. Where I was sitting there looking bastardly like this and they tried to pretend like I didn't understand what the man was saying. When I was asking comprehensive questions, like why is there not a diagnostic exam or assessment available within this platform? And he said, oh, well, that's a good question. He said there was one available 4 years ago and it didn't work out the way that they thought it would. But that's something you can advocate for. I forget what else I asked. I was asking comprehensive questions. It's just that I had this bastardly look on my face because I could feel myself being stared at. And then this teacher that I taught with in 9th grade, she's at the new school now. I was actually supposed to be over there. She was sitting in the meeting too. And I'm very cognizant of my surroundings. So I would see her every now and then drink from her drink. And I saw her looking down at her phone. So I knew I was being watched. That's why I had that look on my face. She wasn't disrespectful to me. I didn't have a problem with her, but I'm just saying, like, these little things, and it wasn't just her either. They had another lady in there that was in a green shirt that was like, it was like this gang stalking thing with her. I'm very cognizant of my surroundings, even if I play like I'm not catching on to what's going on. She was doing passive aggressive things and saying passive aggressive things. That's why I was sitting there looking like this. There was nothing confusing about what that man said. The platform is cut and dry. It's not complicated. It's a platform where you can use the textbook. It has Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. That's not complicated. And then it has the different lessons within the units and the different assessments. What's hard about that? So then he went into the textbook and he was showing that they have the student edition. So that's what the students can access. And then they have the teacher's edition. So that's what you access. And through or via the teacher's edition, you can see what the students are doing on their end. So for instance, instead of having to annotate, which is highlighting or writing notes, which is preparation to do in-text citation, so using textual evidence, so being able to do close reading and reading the text, and finding the important parts of the text and highlighting it or writing notes, rather than having to do that from a physical textbook and write in a copybook, they can do this all virtually via this platform. And so from the teacher's edition, you can see what the students are doing. There was nothing complicated about what the man said. I was Bassidy. Like, they're trying to run with it and still do the it's psychological warfare. And it's obvious now after what they did this morning. That's why I was going on how I was going on in that clip that just played. You have to understand that was in the heat of the moment right after what happened and what I've been dealing with. The things that they've been doing. That's why I said the things I said in that clip. And I'm like, but I'm actually making an effort. I'm spending my own hard-earned cash to the point where I'm almost broke, buying materials for the classroom. I'm actually trying to put together lesson plans. I'm trying to prep. They're telling me I'm doing too much. They're beaming my head with energy weapons. They're trying to discredit the lessons. They're trying to do psychological warfare. I'm hearing noises outside. Like, I'm just like, why did you give me the job if you didn't authentically, genuinely want me to have it? I feel like it's like a catch-22. I think they wanted me to do some half sloppy ass shit so they can say, see, she's lazy. She doesn't care. And now that I'm actually trying, I'm getting punished for it. I don't understand. It's like there was no authentic, genuine second chance. So anyway, that's what that was about. It was what they did as soon as I opened my eyes in the wee hours of the morning, and it's what I've been dealing with. There was this whole roast session in front of an auditorium full of people, and God knows how many other viewers, while I sat there in the front of the auditorium. And it was all gaslighting too. It's so bitter. He did this whole presentation about a lemon and how bitter a lemon is. And all I can think in my head was, I'm the bitter one. But for over a decade, they've been holding a grudge on me for something that happened in my early 20s with their friend, where they were sending men to have sex with me and hacking dating websites. But I'm the bitter one because I'm reacting to abuse. They actually pulled out the fact that they recorded me illegally having sex in my apartment with an ex-boyfriend 4 years ago because the man's girlfriend reacted to my picture. You understand what I'm dealing with? It's subjectivity, gaslighting, and then it's like this ritualistic, like abuse, like this, it's almost like this, like public lynching, where they want to keep like roasting me and setting up like these ritualistic, like humiliation. It's this weird thing. Like these ritualistic humiliation campaigns on camera. And it's never enough. It's like more and more and more and more. I'm like, when is this going to end? And then I just read an article on Facebook this morning that these two guys apparently got shot down here. And they said that brings the killings in the territory up to 20 for the year. So I'm like, but how is it that these people the island is full of birds that are watching me? I drive all the way into the rainforest, the birds are chirping. I drive to the east end of the island, the birds are chirping. I'm like, well, damn, they have birds everywhere, so that means they're civil and everything. So how the hell is it that people are doing killings and getting away, but me who has never committed a crime, the cameras are up my behind, and I'm being tortured on camera to using all these resources, huh? I'm sure some of these people could probably buy a ticket today and go wherever and live a free, comfortable life. But I'm being tortured, stalked, harassed, etc. Then you're pretending it's about white people, but this has been happening long before I shared the offensive content 4 years ago, by the way. 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. But you're using the guys in purple who created the content as gang stalkers? I went to Plaza on Thanksgiving Day to get yams for my mother, and the guys in purple were set up outside of Plaza with a billboard of a black Jesus, and they were preaching. And again, I'm not trying to come for them. I'm just trying to show you what the hell is this? Why is this really happening? Then they sensationalized this teacher in the targeting. who had this inappropriate relationship with my sister that was his student. This is something they know took place. Like they're chirping, chap, because they want to pretend like it's about this, that, and the third, and it's not about any of the shit they're pretending it's about. They have a problem with me, and they've been holding a grudge for over a decade. They keep saying they're trying to break me. What are you really doing this for? Then when I was talking about how hypocritical it was for them to sensationalize his character in the targeting, and I started saying age gap relationships between men and females happen all the time. But before I could say the but and talk about the inappropriateness of what took place between him and my sister, before I could even say that, they started going, chap, like they're in support of age gap relationships. With teacher and student. Why are they really doing this to me? And then would gaslight and say better and do this big, embarrassing, humiliating, ritualistic, like presentation, comparing me to a bitter lemon. Like I'm not supposed to be angry with all the things that's happened to me and what's continuing to happen. What continues to happen. And like it wasn't a bitter move to send men to have sex with me and set me up for over a decade and hack dating websites while I'm in Florida minding my business in school. But I'm bitter. Like I'm not supposed to be upset with all the things that they've done and that they continue to do. Then you give me a job. I'm actually trying. You're telling me I'm doing too much. You're beaming my head with energy weapons. You're trying to humiliate me. So that's what that was, y'all. And anyway, so there's this gaslighting thing when I'm watching shows. Like the biggest thing for them is these cameras, and I keep saying that. So they use these awkward reactions that I have to sensitization to try to propel or use that as an excuse to continue doing what they're doing. If I react awkwardly to white people on the screen with everything that they're doing, then it's changed, and then you can see a bunch of what they did today, a bunch of shit all over the island, trying to use that as an excuse to validate what they're doing. When you literally 30 minutes prior saw me reacting the same way to other sensitization. Right before I left the house, I was watching the show and it said something about cancer. And, kind of they were trying to do this thing that they do with a parent of mine. Like, it's this thing where they try to make it seem like she's, it's weird too. Like, I don't even know why they keep trying to do that. But trying to do this thing with her and trying to pretend like I did something spiritual, right? So I remember getting awkward earlier when something like that took place earlier, and I got the same stupid look where I don't know what to do with my face, and my face is stiff. It's this weird thing that happens with my face when sensitization is happening. So it started happening, and I started trying to explain why the look was happening. So then I start watching this show called The Manor. This show that I watched already, by the way, like 2 years ago, and I didn't react the same way that I reacted today. And I'm going around the place, and I'm trying to purchase things for my classroom, and I'm watching the show, and my face got the same look that happened right before I left the house with the thing with my mom. They start setting up stuff all over the island and trying to use that as some sort of excuse to validate the things they're doing. And again, rectify what happened with this man from the gym. They will not let that thing go. It's to the point where the man's friends, were sitting in the gym bathroom, watching me work out and hoping that I would cry. And then when sweat dripped into my eyes from my last workout, I think this was not the last time I went to the gym, the time before that, they flew out the bathroom. They almost ran out the bathroom. I was like, what the heck? And they know I have school tomorrow, by the way. Like, it's the first day. I'm already not prepared. I couldn't get into my classroom. I wasn't given the classroom key. I went several times to try to get into the classroom. There were these weird things being done. They kept setting stuff up and diving birds down every time I was leaving. And I couldn't get into the classroom. And remember what I told you happened this morning. What led to me doing the rant that I did this morning when that video you just heard, that last clip. As soon as I opened my eyes, sending stuff through the technology. And then when Jim Jones was on the thing, he said, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Chop, wah, wah. So I'm like, but why did they give me the job then? And they're beaming my head with energy weapons. The day I opened the offer letter, they had the bald dude in the gym. The one for my sister, the one from private school. I keep saying for my sister, he's not for any of us, but the one from private school. I'm like, why is he in here? They were doing tactics the day I opened the offer letter. I'm creating lesson plans. They're telling me I'm doing too much. They're clowning me for using ChatGPT. All kinds of stuff, man. I'm like, so, okay, huh? But there are people doing shootings down here and they're free? They're able to move around free and you don't know who shot who, but you have birds and cameras everywhere and you're watching, you're wasting the resources on me who hasn't committed a crime? I don't understand. So anyways, y'all, it's just a lot of crazy shit that I've been dealing with for the last few, not the last few months, for the last few years, but the last few months has been real turned up ever since what happened with that man at the gym. And then what happened at the facility, it's been real lit for me. They've been trying to make my life a living hell. That's what they've been trying to do and succeeding. So I'm being illegally held captive. They're not physically shackling me. I'm not behind bars, but they know what they're doing. And I can't say, okay, well, let me just pick up. I tried that already, right? Let me pick up and leave and start over somewhere else. No, they purposely attached this thing to me. That's what they did. So anyway, y'all, that's what's going on. So they know I have school tomorrow, and it's like sending all these weird like movies with sensitization to geek me up and make me feel like nervous. So you've already gotten in my head and tried to make me doubt myself and make me question myself and make me feel incompetent. But then now it's like this psychological warfare in other areas. Now they're doing the weird child thing. I'm watching the show called Colombiana. First they're doing the white people thing. So I said, let me not watch a white people show. Let me put on something with black people since they were trying to do something earlier. Even though they saw me acting awkward with other things too. Like, it wasn't just that. There's even this girl named Emmy. Emmy from Japan. What's her name? Emmy. They just sent her to me on Facebook recently. Emmy Made in Japan or something like that. You know how long I've been watching it? You could ask my older sister. I've been watching her for years. Before I was a target, I was watching Emmy. When I was in FMU and they were hacking dating websites and stalking me on websites and stuff, I was watching Emmy on YouTube. Because she has like this soft kind of ASMR voice. And she does these cool little like do-it-yourself projects. And so I used to like to watch her videos when I was trying to wind down. And one of those people I'd watch and I'd fall asleep. She's the reason that I know Japanese people, before they eat food, they say, itadakimasu. She's the reason I know that. So anyway, they recently sent her on Facebook. I was like, what? They keep doing that. Like, I think they're digging through my history, my history on YouTube and stuff. And then they just will randomly throw something at me. I was like, Emmy Made in Japan? I said, I haven't seen her in years. The last time I watched Emmy Made in Japan was probably like 2021, 2022. It's been that long since I've seen her channel. And I still follow her on YouTube, but there are just certain channels I don't watch anymore because of discomfort and these people staring at me and angry and mad with a problem. So anyway, I see her floating around on my Facebook. I said, Emmy Made in Japan? I said, oh my God, I haven't seen her stuff in a long time. So I went and I followed her on Facebook. And I tried to sit and watch her videos, and it's so awkward with them watching me. It's the same thing that happens with white people. I'm doing this with my face and that, and I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, oh, this is not the thing to do. Let me just take this off before they try to create something from this reaction. I used to sit and watch Emmy Made from Japan. I notice I'm trying to get off her page. I notice there's all of a sudden I'm seeing a bunch of green all over her page. Let me show you that I follow Emmy Made in Japan on YouTube. That's the whole reason I know that Japanese people, before they eat, they say, itadakimasu. Let's look it up and see if I'm lying, right? What do Japanese people say before they eat? It's itadakimasu. You see it? Before eating, Japanese people say, what does that say? Itadakimasu, but she's taught us, she said it's hard to pronounce, so she said just think eat the dakimasu, and that's how you pronounce it. So it's itadakimasu. She's the reason I know that. I don't speak Japanese. I've never been to Japan. I learned that years ago from watching her. I can't even watch her videos, and I'm watching, I'm looking awkward and stuff. I'm like, oh boy, they're gonna think I have a problem with Japanese people too now. Let me take her off. So you could say I just followed her on Facebook where they just randomly sent her. I was like, damn, I haven't seen Emmy in years. I was like, let me see if I could watch her without having a reaction. Hold on. You're going to see her channel at the top because I just followed her. Hold on. She's going to be somewhere to the top of these followers because I just literally followed her. Did I pass her? I'm having to go so far down. It wasn't that long ago. It was like within the last month that I followed her. I follow a lot of people often, y'all. Am I in the right thing? Am I in my followers? That's the next one. Haruyuki. I've been following Haruyuki Terada for years. He's a sushi chef. They just sent him to me on Facebook. I was like, Haruyuki? I used to watch him years ago on YouTube. I'm like, why are they sending all these people all of a sudden that I used to watch? How do they know? Like, it's like the AI's digging through my history or something. I'm like, well, that's good. So you can see that I'm not prejudiced. Anyway, where is she, though? That was like a month ago when I followed her. There she is. You can see she's at the top, right? Because I followed 352 people. She's right there. Emmy Made. Emmy Made in Japan. That's her name. Look, they have a big green shirt. That's what I'm saying. They started making green, putting green all over her channel. So you see I follow her now on Facebook. You can see she's kind of to the top. I didn't have to go that far down. I followed 352 people. So she's probably, how far down did I have to go? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's literally in the order that you follow people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so 86. She's 86 down on the list. But remember, I followed 352 people. So I followed her about a month ago. I follow people all the time. I followed her about a month ago, right? I want you to see that on YouTube, I've been subscribed to her. I don't know if it's going to show. I don't think it's going to show how long I've been subscribed to her. But I've been subscribed to her for a hot minute. Look at the big green shirt they started putting on her. That's what they started doing. When I was reacting earlier, I was trying to watch her video. Anyway, you can see I'm subscribed to her channel. I have been subscribed to this lady for a minute. I even know that she's the reason I know about century-old eggs. Those eggs that apparently they eat it in Japan, I think, but I also think just in Asia and general. I think they eat it in China too. But it's like the special way that they make the egg where they ferment it. And the egg is like really pungent, and you eat it with something called a congee, which is rice, like a rice porridge. I know all of this from this lady. And she did this whole project where she did she tried to do the century eggs, but it was a fail. But anyway, so she took it and she got the clay, and you have to bury it in clay, and this whole process that she was doing. I watched this years ago. Let me see if I can find the video. I'm trying to prove that I've been watching this lady long before I was a target. In Japan, century-old eggs. She had to do the project twice. You see it, how to eat a century egg. How I finally made. You see it's from 5 years ago, right? You see it's from 5 years ago, right? How I finally made 100-year-old eggs. Because she's saying finally because the initial attempt was a no-go. When she opened it, it didn't work out. This was the initial attempt 6 years ago. Do-it-yourself eggs fail. I'm just trying to talk about videos that I saw from back when I used to watch the lady. Which was like 2020, 2021. I was watching her before I was a target. I couldn't even watch her today. I'm trying to watch her. I'm acting like this. I'm hiding my eyes. I'm trying to watch. I'm doing the same stupid face that happens with white people. I was like, let me take this off before I make more enemies. I was like, let me take it off. I noticed they start putting green shirts on her. All of a sudden, I'm seeing green shirts all over the place. I'm like, oh, God. Like, they're literally using the cameras to validate the torture and to keep torturing me when it's expected. They know I'm going to act awkward to sensitization. It happens with black people, too. It's happening with this older black lady that wears glasses that I just followed on Facebook, and she does these cooking shows. I'm watching her and acting awkward, too. They just want to torture me. This thing has been ongoing. It's long before I shared the offensive things in my car. They have been doing this to me. They were doing this. That's why I tried to relocate off island. It was 2 years of torture. I was living in my vehicle. And prior to becoming a target, they were hacking dating websites, sending men to do things with me. This is a decade and change old grudge that's being held here. That's what I keep trying to say. It's not about the offensive things I shared, but they do have more backing now because of it. But that's not why they're doing this to me. Anyway, so it's just a nightmare, y'all. So it's the gaslighting about the reactions I'm having to sensitization and immediately trying to use that when keeping the cameras on me. It's a part of the torture and the psychological warfare. These are expected reactions. And then people are watching and getting more angry, and then you can recruit more people. They know what they're doing. I'm like, but I was watching Emmy like 6 years ago before I was a target. Eat the ducky moss. Like, Anyway, so it's just crazy weird shit, dude. And I don't really know what's gonna happen. Like I said, I'm trying my best with this job, but a lot of psychological warfare has happened already. I don't even feel prepared for tomorrow. I couldn't even get into my classroom and finish preparing my classroom. They're sending a bunch of psychological warfare through the technology. The cameras, of course, are still rolling. So everybody's going to be watching, tuning in for the target for her first day at work. So it's this big fanfare on Island and everywhere else for everybody to watch like it's a movie. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated as it goes along. I'm trying my best. I'm telling you, I'm not giving up. I'm a fighter. I'm trying my best. So I'll keep... Y'all, more documentation. Remember I told you I'm keeping track of every single thing that takes place, right? So I have videos dating back to months ago when I first got offered the job, then to a couple months ago when I started lesson planning what was being done, right down to today. As you can see, it's 2:14 a.m., the first day of school, so I'm going to continue to document everything. It's now 2:15 a.m. My body woke me up. I'm not supposed to be up yet. I'm getting up in a couple hours. I have my alarm set to get up extremely early so I can prep. There's a wig that I'm planning to wear, and I need to prepare it, and then I just wanted to also, just like I said, prep for the first day. They know that. My body woke me up. It's 2:15. I'm trying to get back to sleep. Power outage. The power's gone. So thank God I have my portable fan, so I was able to turn that on, or I would have been laying here in the heat and not able to get back to sleep. Now, I've only been up about 10 minutes, and they've done a power outage now, and you can hear the fake crickets and birds and whatever else outside chirping. So again, I haven't even gotten in the building for the first day, and tactics are already being done. So again, more documentation. So now there's a power outage at this hour of the night or morning, 2:15 a.m. And I have to be up in a couple hours. I'm getting up, like I told you, extremely early to prep. So I'll keep you updated on how the first day actually goes, please God. And the things, whatever it is that takes place.